Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Property Magic Podcast, and this is going to blow your mind. My guest is going to talk about one of his deals that's a life-changing mega deal that makes just over £100,000 profit when it's fully occupied from just one deal. It's what we call a mega deal, a life-changing deal, but we're going to go back a little bit and start before that, explain how he got to that point. So welcome to Richie Miller. Hi Richie, how are you?
Hi Simon, very good, thanks. Good to see you again.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much for agreeing to come and share this truly inspirational case study, Richie. So
Pleasure.
for people who don't know you, do you want to just tell people a little bit about your background? What did you do before property?
So before property, I was an army officer. I was in the Royal Logistic Corps. I did a 14-year career in all. I was mainly based in the UK, but had some operational tours and a couple of years in Germany as well during that time.
Okay, and so at the end of that 14 years, did you know what you wanted to do, or was it okay?
Yes, I had a very active plan to get out of the army. I got married in 2015 and decided to buy my first property because Dad had always told me property's good. His biggest regret was never buying a property and never investing in property. So it's good for your pension, so buy a property.
Yeah.
No idea what I'm doing, never done anything like that before. And at the time, Dad was a civil servant, having retired from the army, and they'd been in Germany for about 17, 18 years, and they were getting ready to retire properly and move back to the UK.
Okay.
So Dad bought the top 3 books on Amazon for how to buy a property.
Yeah.
One of them was Property Magic.
Okay.
And Dad said, I'm too old for this, doesn't make any sense to me, but you might enjoy this. So he gave it to me, and I read it in the first half of 2015.
Yeah.
I did my best to apply your principles and golden rules, and I bought a 3-bed house at the end of 2015 that was being repossessed, valued at 85,000. I bought it for 77, I think. 9 months later, I revalued it, and it was £105,000.
Okay, that's good.
So very good. Okay, so it cost me 95 quid to extend the mortgage. So I put in 23,000. Yeah. I got 27 back out. Yeah. I still had equity in there, still owned it, and had positive monthly cash flow.
Right. So just from reading Property Magic book, you went and applied that, and you bought something, you were able to get all your money out with some equity. That's not bad, is it?
No, I was very, very pleased. And that's when I thought this time I know something and it might be worth learning a bit more about this, and this could change my life. I started appraising where I am in my career, what my pension will look like if I do the full 20-year contract I've got, what rank I'll get to, what that will look like with lifestyle for the next 15, 20 years and everything, and what that retirement would be. And I thought I could earn more than that, hopefully with less work, and be my own boss through property investing. Yeah. So rather than going again and getting another 3-bed and doing the same sort of thing, I invested that money on the Mastermind course. Yes,
so you did a 3-day accelerator.
Yep.
And then obviously onto Mastermind. And I think, so an interesting point, obviously you're based down in Bristol, aren't you?
I am now, yep.
But you were not investing in Bristol, you were investing out of area?
Yes, investing out of area. So when I started, I was living in Surrey. Over a 4-year period, we lived in 5 different houses from the army moves, and we had our 2 children in that time, and that's when I was doing the Mastermind course as well.
Yes. So why did you choose Sheffield?
A friend of my wife, she used to live and work with her. Her brother owns an estate agency in Sheffield. It's a family-owned one. It's not in a part of a chain or anything. Yeah. She said, Chris does some property investing. I'm sure he'd help us and manage it if we got something up there. This was about the time I was reading Property Magic and doing the first one. Went up to Sheffield, had a look around, met Chris, and they helped me source my first property, my first 3-bed. So that's why I chose Sheffield as sort of friend link through.
Got it. And then once you got a power team set up there, you just bought more and more there. Okay, great. And then when you came on Mastermind, obviously you realised you want to do a bit more. So what strategy did you really focus on?
So my focus was replacing my army salary as quickly as possible. So I started with rent-to-rent serviced accommodation because that good cash flow. It was before rent-to-rent SA became a proper thing. Yes. This was 8-9 years ago. Yeah. And I liked it, but it wasn't predictable. So I stopped doing it. A good month from 2 flats, I made £3,000. But a couple of months, I lost nearly £1,000.
Yeah, it can be very fluctuating, can't it? Yeah.
So I wanted the predictability if it was going to be my main income and replace my salary. Yeah. So I started looking at HMOs, and in the second half of the Mastermind year, I started sending out landlord letters around Sheffield after getting.
Should have started the first month, really. But that's beside the point.
Yeah. Didn't listen to you, didn't do what you said straight away.
Which is always a big tip, by the way. If you come aside Mastermind, it's kind of a good idea to do it straight away. Really.
Yes,
Anyway, I'll let you off that. That's fine. Because you've done pretty well anyway.
Yeah, thank you. So I found a 6-bed student HMO in Sheffield, off market, bricks and mortar value 345, agreed to buy it for 325, and we completed on it about 6 weeks after Mastermind finished. So it didn't quite count towards my Mastermind stats and stuff. We did a back-to-brick refurb, ground floor, first floor extension, and got it revalued at 550k. So it wasn't quite all money back out, but the money that was left in was my 20 grand and some family money. But all my investors that I met through Mastermind and networking events and PIN meetings, all of their money came back out with the interest. So, and it was giving me about 1,500 a month profit, I think.
Okay, yeah, good HMO should at least 1,000 a month. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, it's 1,100 a month at the time.
And I suppose it's also that first kind of deal, you're proving it to yourself, aren't you? Proving that, yes, this BRR, so buy, refurbish, refinance, rent kind of works.
Yes.
And you don't always get your money out, but the money left in, obviously pretty good return on that. So that's good. Okay.
Yeah, so very happy with that. And as I was finishing that off, I said to Chris, the letting agency, who were managing the tenants and stuff for me, I want to do this again because it's working really well. Do you know any more that are available? I'm trying to do off-market stuff, and explained it a little bit about it. Yeah. And he laughed at me and said, what about an HMO on steroids? I laughed back at him and said, with my network and my knowledge, it doesn't matter how big it is, I can do it because Simon's told me it's going to work.
Absolutely.
If the deal stacks up, we can do it. It doesn't matter how big it is.
That's right.
So he showed me the marples. I changed my pants and thought this is a good opportunity if I can do it. And it was a 48-bed city centre tower block in the centre of Sheffield. It was on the open market. It had been on the market for about 18 months. It had a couple of sales fallen through. Yeah. The two owners were two old boys in their 70s who were retiring and selling the big, noisy parts of the portfolio for their retirement. Yeah.
So what was it on the market for?
1.8 million.
So, and this is what we call a mega deal, right? Yeah. And the point is that I guess there are not that many people looking at that size deal because they think they can't fund it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's not as much competition when looking for bigger deals, which is a big tip. Yeah. And obviously, I know you used what we taught you on Mastermind about negotiating, so you were able to get a lower price than that?
Yeah. So through PIN, I met an investor. He was an older guy who had a good SAS pension and he wanted to invest with someone younger who could do all the running around. Yeah. So we went up and viewed it, liked it, and agreed to meet the owners a week or two later. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it, so I went on my own. Yeah. Negotiated and got it down to 1.5 million.
Yeah, so £300,000 off the asking price.
300,000 off the asking price, which I'm very pleased with. Yeah. Shook this old boy's hand and agreed to buy it. Yeah. Called my investor. Oh, brilliant! That's all good news. Let's go. He then checked with his SAS fund, pension funds, and realised he can't buy student property with it. So he pulled out. Okay. So I was then left with...
Change your pants another time?
Yeah, change my pants another time. So at that point I had no money again and had to, do I phone up John, who I'd just shaken his hand and agreed to buy it from him and pull out, or do I try and do this and try and make it work? So I thought I'll give it a go and see if I can make it work. So I got two JV partners who brought £100,000 each. Yep. And between us, we raised the rest of the money from network, from property investors, friends and family.
And I get there were 2 problems with it, because not only did you not have the money, but also because it's a big, not anyone can get a mortgage on it. You've got to have some experience. So you need more experienced investors who not only bought the money, but also bought the ability to get the finance.
Yeah. I told my broker about it and he laughed at me and said, there's no way you're going to get a mortgage. He spoke to a few lenders and my experience with a 3-bed and 1 6-bed HMO apparently is not enough experience to get a mortgage on a massive 48-bed HMO. So Chris, who owns the letting agency I've been using, he'd originally agreed to come in to manage it and stuff and be involved with the project quite heavily. So I said, will you come in as a JV partner with your name on it, because you've been managing this, your agency's been managing it for a number of years for the owners, just doing tenant find for them. I can get a mortgage with your name on it. So he agreed to be one of my JV partners. Right. So it was a no, you can't do this, it's not going to work, to how do I overcome that problem? It's a molehill, it's not a mountain, and having the right JV partner.
And I think that's a really important learning point, because as property investors, we're problem solvers, aren't we? We're property problem solvers, and if it was easy, everyone would do it. Yes. And so looking for the deals that are a challenge, that most people couldn't buy because they don't have the money, can't get the finance, and then using your network to find the money and the experience, that's a smart way to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, and so tell us, what does a 48-bed HMO look like? Because it's on 4 floors, isn't it? So
yes, this one's on 5 floors.
Right, okay.
So ground floor, lower ground and upper grounds are 2 commercial units.
Yeah.
And then floors 1 to 5 is the residential bit.
Okay, so
HMO.
four floors of residential.
So so it's ground floor and then 5 floors of residential.
Yes.
It's 4 floors of 11 rooms.
Yeah.
And the 5th floor's got 4 rooms.
Okay.
And the council count each floor as a flat. So there's council tax on each flat.
Right, yeah.
But there's no HMO licence on the 5th floor because it's only 4 rooms.
Okay, got it. And obviously, I know you spent several £100,000 doing a full refurb, because often when you buy an existing property from retiring landlords, they haven't kept it up to the modern decoration standards. They haven't raised the rents as much as they could. So by refurbishing it, making a lovely property and increasing the rents, you then get a commercial valuation based on a value of 3 million?
Yep.
So you buy for 1.5, spending 320, I think it was.
So the budget was 190,000 to do the refurb. We had some problems and delays with the refurb, so it cost a lot more than it should have.
Yeah.
Ended up sacking the project manager and getting a new build team, and had to go back and reseal.
So it's not been without its
bathrooms.
problems, right?
No, so there's some big problems with it.
Yeah.
But then then COVID hit. We finished the refurb in January 20. And we were about 45% occupied when the first lockdown hit us in March 20, and we spent a year waiting for the banks to open and get it valued and everything done. So we were a year late repaying our investors.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they understood a global pandemic and
not
everyone was
really
in
your
the same
fault.
boat. It wasn't really my fault.
No.
But because it valued up so well, and we did finally get a revaluation through at 3 million. I think it was 3,013,000 and something, but it doubled the value from what we bought it from.
Yeah.
And the
That's
refurb
amazing.
cost us 300k, and even with paying back an extra year's worth of interest payments, it was still no money left in. We fully paid back everybody.
So the JV partners got their money back, the investors got their money plus all the extra interest, so they were happy, obviously happy in the end. So you're left with this property you own a third of, that's no money in, that when it's, and obviously these things aren't always fully up, but on paper, when it's fully let, it should be over £100,000 for one property deal.
One property deal, that
That's
no
amazing.
money in, no money
No
left
money
out.
in, couldn't even get experience to borrow it. And if people aren't inspired by that, I don't know what's going to inspire. So thank you for sharing that. And I know you're in our 100k club anyway, which means you earn over £100,000 profit for your property. And this is obviously a big part of that, but all your other properties in there.
Yeah.
So well done for being in that, by the
Thank
way.
you.
And you got the award at our dinner for that, which is cool. And obviously it doesn't stop there. So tell me about your latest deal.
So the latest deal was an off-market purchase. It's a block of 16 flats, also in Sheffield, with 2 commercial units. It was a retiring landlord who's moving abroad, and he wanted a sale.
And lots of landlords,
lots of landlords like that.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity to buy now.
And like the Marples, it's been run for 15, 20 years with just essential maintenance done to it. So it's quite old and tired. The old landlord's biggest thing was having it 100% full all the time. So his rents were 25% lower than market rents on a tired property.
Okay. So a big potential uplift there.
Yeah. So 25% increase in value just by putting the rents up on a commercial valuation up to market level. It was valued on the purchase for 1.7 million, and we bought it for 1.35.
Okay, so again, a good below market value purchase.
Good discount on it, and it should have a GDV of 2.6, 2.5, 2.6 million at the end. And we're spending 200k, new kitchens, new bathrooms, checking the wiring and plumbing while we're there, but most of it looks good.
So fairly light refurb on each of the flats, increasing the rent, then getting that commercial valuation again. And will it be all money out again, do you think?
We're expecting it to be, expecting it to be all money out. We'll probably sell some of it, or we'll keep it. We're not sure yet. We're gonna play with the numbers, because we bought the freehold for the Marples about 2 years ago, and we've got a self-storage business in there, and we're looking at growing the storage business. And there's an office block near where Chris lives in Devon now that's ripe for conversion to 16 flats by chance. It's the same number. So if we can sell parts of these flats we just bought this summer, that will give us the equity to do those 2 new deals this year.
Got it.
And if we don't, we've got the network of investors. We can just hopefully roll the investors from the block of flats into those 2 purchases. But if not, the backup plan will be to sell some of it so we can do it ourselves.
Fantastic. And when you were just thinking about stepping out the military and leaving that, pretty good job, good income, etc., did you ever think in this time you would have achieved all this?
No, The dream was to be self-employed, self-sufficient, living off the portfolio. I'm doing that, but I wasn't expecting to be doing the big deals. When I first started, I thought it was going to be 3-bed houses.
Yeah,
and
more
maybe
buy-to-lets.
Yeah, more buy-to-lets, and maybe go up to some 6-bed HMOs and get a few more of those.
Yeah.
It was you opening my eyes to mega deals and the possibilities, and going away from the noise where everyone's trying to do 3-bed conversions to 5-bed HMOs and 6-bed HMOs and stuff.
Yeah,
go away
there's
from
lots
that
of competition.
noise. Yeah, lots of competition. Go up to where there's less competition, bigger deals.
Yeah.
If you can get your head around the big numbers, which are scary, but the principles are exactly the same.
Yeah. You've got to understand your numbers, obviously, but often it's just an extra naught on the cost, an extra naught on the profit as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. So, Richard, what words of advice would you give to anyone who, particularly maybe people who are in the military, who, and often people have a difficult time coming out of the military and adjusting to civilian life? What would your advice be to them if they wanted to get into property?
Top 3 tips would be to get educated. There's no such thing as a risk-free investment or doing something without risk.
Yeah.
If you've got that right knowledge that comes with a support network, it's no longer a gamble, it's a calculated risk. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's a gamble. So don't gamble by getting educated and getting some knowledge.
Yeah.
You are where you are now based on decisions you made 5 years ago and the lifestyle and what you're doing. If you want something different for your life, you've got to do something different.
Yeah.
So with that knowledge, you've got to take action.
Absolutely.
If you don't take action, you're not going to change your life now or in the future. And the final one be to go where the air's thinner. There are deals to be done and bigger profits to be made with bigger deals, and it's easier to do because there's less people doing it. If you can get your head around the big numbers. Yeah,
that's great advice. So, Richie, thank you so much for coming and sharing. I'm sure it's been truly inspirational for people, and I look forward to hearing about your future deals as well. This Property Magic podcast comes out every Tuesday. Until next time, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill.